Welcome to this media briefing on achievements in the Petroleum Authority of Uganda's decade of service.
You're welcome to the Petroleum Authority of Uganda, and especially to this press conference to commemorate the 10 years of the Petroleum Authority of Uganda. Regulating the sector for 10 years is a big milestone. Now, during these 10 years, the authority has played a critical role in the overall growth and development of the oil and gas sector. And this is especially by ensuring that the country's oil and gas resources are developed sustainably, transparently, but in a manner that benefits all Ugandans. The authority is currently being overseen by its third board of directors. This is following the appointments of boards in 2015. 2015 was the first board, then in 2020, and then last year in 2024. So now we are having the third board, and the boards undertake the oversight of how the authority is running. In addition to the board, the authority has staff, as you would expect, and I'm one of them. And these staff have grown from 1 in 2016 up to 220 staff today. But at least the average age of staff is 40 years. I also want to say that these staff are really professionals who have attained their training from some of the best institutions in the world. The authority has had 3 strategic plans, and these plans have guided its growth. The first one was the 3-year strategic plan, and it ran from 2017-18 to 2019-2020. Now, the theme of this strategic plan was delivering while growing. The second strategic plan was for the period 2020 to 2021 up to 24-25. The theme of this strategic plan was unlocking Uganda's oil and gas industry for sustainable development. The authority is now implementing its third strategic plan, which is running from this year, this financial year, up to 29-30. And the theme of this strategic plan is enabling a sustainable petroleum industry. It's important to also note that these strategic plans have all been in line with the country's national development plans. And the first one was in line with the second national development plan. The second one was in line with the third national development plan, while the third strategic plan was in line with the National Development Plan 4, which we are currently implementing. Through the monitoring and regulating the work of the industry, the authority has safeguarded the country's interests in the sector while promoting investor confidence, and this is in line with the mission of the authority, which is creating lasting value for society and contributing to Uganda being a sound investment destination. As you may have heard, Uganda's petroleum resources increased. And the increase was that the oil in place increased from 6.5 billion barrels slightly to 6.6 billion barrels. And the recoverable resources, which you can get out of the ground, increased from 1.4 billion to 1.65 billion barrels. This increase was a result of improved understanding of the oil and gas discoveries in the Albertine Graben. When the announcement of the final investment decision was made in 2022, it unlocked the engineering, procurement, and construction phase of the country's petroleum projects. These projects are mainly 3. They are the Kingfisher Petroleum Production Project, they are the Tilenga Petroleum Production Project, and there is the East African Crude Oil Pipeline. The construction phase of these 3 projects is now at its peak, with commercial production of first oil expected during the second half of 2026. The authority leads the monitoring and regulation of these projects, and these projects are mega in scale. and their implementation is intense. The activities being undertaken at the Tilenga and the Kingfisher petroleum production projects now include drilling of wells. These wells are being drilled in preparation for oil production. They also include the construction of central processing facilities, one at Tilenga and one at Kingfisher, together with the other installations. Kingfisher project, all the 19 wells which are required for first oil next year have now been drilled. While for the Tilenga project, 164 out of the 170 wells required for first oil have been drilled. So there are a few remaining, and there's no doubt that these will be completed by the time first oil comes. Now for the East African crude oil pipeline, the manufacturing and delivery of all the pipes which are required for the 1,443 kilometer long pipeline were delivered to the port of Dar es Salaam last month. Now these projects currently, they have an overall completion rate of 60% for the Tilenga project. So the Tilenga project is at 60% completion. The Kingfisher project is at 74% completion, and the East African crude oil pipeline is currently at 75% completion. And everybody is working hands on deck to ensure that these remaining percentages are concluded in time for first oil. Final investment decision for the refinery project has not yet been taken, but there are activities happening in this line. And the signing of the implementation agreement for this refinery was done in March 2025, and this marked the beginning of the critical project development activities. The authority has established a state-of-the-art data center along with its attendant data management system. This data center has been established to manage the country's physical and digital petroleum data. Currently, this data center holds over 60 terabytes of electronic data, and it hosts thousands of physical data, and the physical data are really geosamples. And the volume of data in this data center has continued to grow over the last 10 years as the country implemented the ongoing preparation for production. The development of the National Petroleum Data Repository is still continuing, and the two aspects that are still outstanding, one is a real-time monitoring center, and the other is a disaster recovery solution. Now to date, a total of just over 11 billion United States dollars has been invested in the country's petroleum sector. And this was by the end of June 2025. Out of these just over $11 billion, $1.96 billion was invested in 2023. And $2.49 billion was invested in 2024. Now, of this total investment, 7.9 billion was invested in the exploration, looking for, and preparation of the oil fields for production, while the other 3.3 billion has been invested in the East African crude oil pipeline. And we expect that 4 billion United States dollars is continuing to be invested in the preparation for oil production, and this will be done over the period 2025-2027. So the authority has supported the cost recovery audits which are undertaken by the Office of the Auditor General. Now, when commercial quantities of oil and gas resources were confirmed in Uganda in 2006, the country made deliberate steps to ensure that the country's policies and laws address the environmental and social issues associated with petroleum development. Unlike in some countries where the management of petroleum waste or the oil spills have led to undesired environmental and social consequences, in Uganda, these aspects have been prepared for and they are being regulated to ensure that they cause no adverse effects. And as an example, all the waste generated from petroleum operations in the country is being managed at designated state-of-the-art facilities. These facilities include thermal desorption units, which are not common parts of the waste management systems. These facilities have been purposely designed and constructed to manage the waste generated from petroleum activities. Now, the participation of Ugandans and Ugandan enterprises in the country's oil and gas sector is critical to achieving a sustainable and impactful oil and gas sector. Now, out of the $7 billion United States dollars of contracts which the companies have submitted for review and approval by the authority, and which the authority has approved, 2.2 billion of these contracts were awarded to Ugandan companies. Now, in addition to these Ugandan enterprises participating, close to 20,000 Ugandans are now directly employed in the oil and gas sector. But in addition, there is another 180,000 Ugandans who are either employed indirectly or through employment induced by the activities in the oil and gas sector. That brings the total number to about 200,000. The authority has set up digital platforms. These digital platforms include the National Supplier Database and the National Oil and Gas Talent Register. And these two have become cornerstones for showing the available capacity of Ugandans and Ugandan enterprises to supply goods and services to the oil and gas sector. As a result of the effort to develop the enterprises in Uganda, because these enterprises have not just been left there, there are efforts to capacity build them. And the Petroleum Authority of Uganda spearheads these efforts of capacity building these Ugandan enterprises. And as a result of these efforts, 3,000 small and medium enterprises have received business development support. I must inform you here that this effort is not done by the Petroleum Authority of Uganda alone. There are private sector companies, including entities like Stanbic Bank, who have participated in the capacity building of these small to medium enterprises. In addition to developing these small and medium enterprises, over 5,900 enterprises in the country have participated in supplier development workshops. In addition to building the capacity of enterprises, up to 14,000 Ugandans have been trained and certified in petroleum-related vocational disciplines like welding, health and safety, scaffolding, together with heavy goods vehicle driving and operations. The authority has also worked with the Ministry of Education and Sports and the Oil and Gas Trainers Association to support and implement the accreditation of international certifications in 15 technical institutions. The authority has supported the formation of more than 40 joint ventures, and this has enabled technology transfer and equipment transfer worth over 300 million. Now, training institutions in the country have benefited from donations of very high quality software and hardware tools, which are being used to train the young Ugandans in universities like Makerere University, Kyambogo University, and Nkumba University. And in this regard, the authority hosts what is called a National Content Conference and Exhibition every year. The 6th Annual National Content Conference and Exhibition is going to be held on the 3rd and 4th December 2025 at Mistil Hotel. And it's my pleasure to invite all of you who are here, together with our other partners, to come and see the achievements of the participation of Ugandans in the oil and gas sector, which was previously considered be a very complicated sector where Ugandans wouldn't participate. The authority has benefited tremendously from its partnerships, its collaboration, and its engagement with stakeholders. I'm sure some of you have heard of the African proverb which says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. This Petroleum Authority of Uganda would like to go far because it would like to be the leading petroleum regulatory agency. And so in going far, this African proverb captures the collaborative spirit and the shared purpose that have defined the last 10 years of the Petroleum Authority of Uganda. The authority has worked very hard on its partnerships. It has worked very hard on its collaborations. So it has worked very hard on the engagement of its stakeholders. And it reflects how institutional synergies and teamwork have driven the authority's progress over the past decade. The authority is collaborating with international bodies of repute for energy, and these bodies include the International Upstream Forum, which is a very high quality institution. I had the opportunity to participate in this forum last month in Canada, and I was amazed at the professionalism in this forum. The authority is collaborating with the energy regulators of East Africa. The authority is collaborating with the African Petroleum Regulators Forum. But in addition to those forums, the authority is also collaborating with petroleum regulatory agencies around the world. And the ones that we are working with include the Regulatory Agency of Norway, which you know has worked with Uganda for a long time, the Regulatory Agency of Ghana, the one of Kenya, the one of Tanzania, the one of Zanzibar, among others. And with a strong commitment to transparency through communication and stakeholder engagements, the authority continues to pursue regulatory excellence while building public trust. As the authority enters the next decade of its regulatory work, there is no doubt that the responsibilities of the authority are going to increase. This increase is going to be in the regulation of the following areas. First of all, oil and gas production. The second area is the exploration of try and find additional oil and gas resources. The third one, which you can also predict, is the authority will have to regulate the transportation of petroleum commodities. And this is especially the transportation of crude oil through the East African crude oil pipeline. Refining of crude oil is also coming along the way, so that will require additional regulation for the authority. But also more importantly, government has approved a new national petroleum policy. And this policy has recommended that the downstream aspects of the oil and gas sector are also regulated by the Petroleum Authority of Uganda. This is new, but these have been regulated by the ministry. As the Petroleum Authority of Uganda marks 10 years since its establishment, I would like to take this opportunity to express my deepest appreciation to everyone who has worked with the Petroleum Authority of Uganda on this journey so far. And this is especially members of the board of the authority, the management of the authority, and the staff of the authority. I also wish, on behalf of the authority, to really extend special appreciation to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, retired, really for the very strong support and guidance that he has given to the development of the country's oil and gas sector in general, but also the support he has given to the regulation of the sector in particular. This is extremely important. The ministers of Energy and Mineral Development, together with the ministers of state and the permanent secretary of the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, have given tremendous support to the growth of the authority and the implementation of the authority's work. So the authority Of course, the other ministries, departments, and agencies of government have also contributed to the work, the authority's achievement of these milestones. I have to single out ministries like the Ministry of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, ministries like that of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, agencies like Uganda Revenue Authority, and others. The partnership has been very helpful in to enable the authority to achieve the achievements I've documented. The Petroleum Authority of Uganda therefore looks forward to continued partnerships and engagements with all stakeholders. And these include the ministries, departments, and agencies of government, the communities where these activities are implemented, the private sector actors, and here I must emphasize the benefit of the private sector actors, because remember, they are the ones that invest, and they are the ones that lead to this work. They are the ones who submit documents for the authority to approve, and so on and so on. Our working relationship has been very, very good, especially with the licensed oil companies and some of the companies they have contracted. The international partners we work with, I listed them for you earlier, have supported us to ensure. All these have supported the Petroleum Authority of Uganda to ensure that Uganda's oil and gas resources are developed sustainably and for the benefit of all Ugandans. Thank you for listening to me, and I said all this for God and my country.